Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's broadcast. I'm Wayne McDonald. You're listening to Living an Abundant Life. I know that as you listen to today's broadcast, you're going to be equipped, motivated, and mobilized so you can touch your world with the love, grace, and power of God. I want to talk to you today about the leading cause that is stealing people's dreams. That's right, the number one cause that is stealing from people their ability to live their dreams. That number one leading cause is, you ready for this? The American credit industry. That's right. Purchasing things through credit is stealing from the lives of millions of people their dreams. I want to give you just a brief history about how the American credit industry was birthed. Do you realize prior to 1917, it was rare to purchase anything on credit? And there were laws in place that stopped and prevented lenders lending credit with high interest rates. And because of that, this giant was held at bay. Now, in 1920, when World War I had ended, consumer demand for big ticket, high ticket items increased, and lawmakers began to relax these credit laws. What do you get when you mix high consumer demand for stuff and the mixture of credit laws that are starting to be relaxed? You get the birth of the American credit industry. When you have a high demand for stuff and you have banks that are more than willing to offer credit with high interest rates, it's going to be a setup for millions of people to be stole from. That's right, their dreams to be stole from. This broadcast is all about empowering you to live every dream of your heart, for you to have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. And for you to be empowered to then help others, to reach them, to lift them higher as you are lifted. You can't do it when you're borrowing all the time. I want to encourage you to just take a step back today, and I want you just to reevaluate where you're at and where you're headed. The American credit industry is destructive to the dreams that you have on the inside of your heart. It's destructive to me. How many of you are bombarded regularly with credit card applications? Just today when I checked the mail, there was about 3 or 4 credit applications from every kind of creditor you can possibly imagine. And I'm sure your mailbox and your inbox and your email is bombarded with applications for a line of credit. Prior to 1917, this was not the case. During the end of World War I, in the early 1920s, there was a big demand for consumer goods, and the credit laws began to be relaxed. Now, in 1929, the Great Depression was taking place, and governments began to relax lending laws even more so that respectful banks would be able to offer credit. They'd be able to offer loans to keep those banks profitable. Then in 1939, when World War II was over, the economy improved, jobs were created in abundance because of the war. The war had ended. The troops came home, the economy's doing good, and the lending laws were relaxed even more in 1939. And this then led to, in the 1950s, what you and I know as the birth of the credit card. Since then, this giant, this credit giant, this American credit industry has grown to the point where it's a huge Goliath, and it is stealing from millions of people the ability to live their dreams. Why? Because everything is being charged. For me to even say you can live life without using credit cards, and you can live life owning your car, owning your furniture, owning everything, and doing it without debt, people think someone like that is crazy. It's become the norm to just borrow on everything. But it wasn't like this prior to 1917. In 1950, when the credit card was birthed, people have now accepted, 70 some years later, this thing has grown to a Goliath, and it is now normal. They have accepted it as the norm to just charge everything. On average, in America, the average household has at least $14,000 to $15,000 in just credit card debt. Not to mention school loans, car payments, the mortgage. People that look like they're wealthy, in a lot of cases, are broke, but they look successful. But they have ran up Visa and Discover and MasterCard and all the rest. They're wearing clothes on credit, driving cars on credit. Nothing that they have do they own. But yet they have dreams. There's dreams on the inside of their heart. But the American credit industry is the leading cause why people do not live their dreams. Why? I can't fulfill and do what I really want to do because I owe, so it's off to work I go. And we laugh and we read the bumper sticker and we say, that's me. I owe, so it's off to work I go. We're not to be going to work because I owe, it's off to work I go. We're to be going to work to fulfill our God-given purpose so that we can release our giftings, release our talents, release our abilities. But when you have the financial stress on you and you feel like you're pressured and you have to go, if you do like your job or don't like your job, you got to go anyhow. That's not fun. And that's not where we are designed by God to live. Now you can get out. Here's the good news. You can get out of this situation, but you have to perform plastic surgery. Get out them cards. That's right, baby. Get out them cards and cut them suckers up. I've had credit card debt. I've ran up cards and had a few $1,000s worth of debt. My wife and I, we caught on early. And we said, Father, we're not going to do this. You have a better way. We like your system better than the Babylonian system, the confused system, the worldly system, the American credit industry system. There's a better way of doing things. We paid those cards off. We started with the one that had the smallest amount. We paid it off, cut it up, and then we took that money and put it to the next one. And then the third one, we knocked it all out. And it didn't take a long, long time either. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was something like 9 or 10 months, and we knocked it out. You can do this. You can get out of debt. Years ago, I got stupid again and purchased some brand new cars. I learned my lesson. I will not ever do that again. I leased cars. Leasing a car is the highest way, the most expensive way to finance a vehicle. I've done it. So I've done these things. I've made mistakes, but I corrected it and got on the right path, the path to having and enjoying life in abundance to the full, till it overflows. I first of all bought that car out and then just started pouring money into that car to pay it off. Now I have two vehicles. The one vehicle was one payment away from being paid off, and my wife got in an automobile wreck with my daughter and the car was totaled. We had one payment left. So you're going to have in life setbacks. I had a little setback, but we got on course. I found another car. Matter of fact, the car was identical to the year and make and model that she had, except it was red. She wanted a red car, so I began to look, and it took hours and hours and hours doing research and looking at different vehicles, and found a really, really nice vehicle. It was just like her vehicle. Had about, I think it was like 28,000 less miles than what hers had on. Was in real good condition, and we were able to purchase that with cash. And I think there's like 4 or 5 or 6 payments, something. It added a few more payments because the insurance money that came in, it wasn't quite enough to put into the vehicle that we purchased. But this vehicle had a lot less miles. Very nice, very reliable vehicle. So I was willing to add a few more payments, several payments, to get her a very nice, reliable vehicle. But we're just several payments away from paying that off, and as that vehicle is paid off here in the next few months, then I'll take that money and put that towards the other vehicle that we owe on, and in approximately about 9 months it'll take us, we'll have no debt on credit cards, no school loans, no automobile loans. We'll be completely debt-free with the exception of the house. And guess what? When my car is paid off, then we're taking that money and we're dumping boatloads of it toward the house payment, towards the principal of the house, to put ourselves on the path to being totally debt-free. Jesus said, I've come that you might have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. And while we're doing that, we're investing. We're investing in our businesses. We're investing in other things. I want to encourage you today. You can get out of debt. You can live every dream that you have on the inside of your heart. Don't compare yourself with other people. Don't buy a vehicle so you can show off and show everyone at the stop sign or at the red light you pull up to how nice your car is. So what? They'll forget about you in 2 minutes. Purchase a vehicle you can afford without going into debt. Live without credit cards. Live without borrowing. Use cash for purchases or use your debit card. I'm telling you, it's time for plastic surgery, people. Cut up them cards, shut them off, pay off the one that has the smallest balance first, and then take that one and put it towards the next one until you are completely debt-free as far as credit cards, and then go after any other debts. You can live debt-free. Most of my married life, my wife and I lived debt-free. We owned our vehicles. We bought vehicles and we paid cash for them. And we had no credit card debt. Now, we didn't have a home. We rented at first, but we had no debt. We lived like that for the first about 8 to 9 years when we were married. First 9 years of our marriage. And we had some really good principles in place. And then we got a little laxed. So I don't know where you're at today. Maybe you are so far in debt you're overwhelmed and can't even imagine that it even exists, that you can live debt-free. I want to encourage you, you can do it. On average, when someone really gets serious, when a husband and a wife, if you're married, get serious, they become debt-free, on average, in approximately 3 to 4 years. Everything's paid for. A lot of times, in about 5 to 6 years, even the house is paid for. But I'm talking about when people really get aggressive and say, I've had enough. Now, it's not easy to get a husband and wife on the same page, to get them in agreement. But if you can get in agreement with your spouse and you can sit down and you can write out what you owe, and you start with the smallest one first and you begin to attack it with absolute intensity, you say, this is the enemy of me living my dreams and fulfilling my God-given destiny, really carrying out the things that I really want to be doing in life. And not only that, but changing my family tree, that my children are going to emulate what I'm doing. They're going to live without debt. They're not going to have the debt mentality that we have to borrow to have everything. You can live debt-free. You can change generations by what I'm telling you. I am transforming my family tree. I'm changing and transforming generations to follow me. My little girl, she is being taught these principles that we don't borrow. When you want something, you pay cash and you save up for it. And if you don't have the cash, then wait. You can do this. You can do this. I want you to be encouraged today. You can get out of debt. You can live your dreams. Jesus said, I've come that you might have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. Well, it's my privilege and honor to come every week into your house or wherever you're at when you're listening to this podcast. It's my privilege and honor. You can connect with us so many different ways. Wherever you are, we are. You can follow us on Facebook at Voice to the Nations Worldwide Evangelism. You can log on to our website, www.voicetothenations.com, for daily devotionals by Laura and myself. You can log on to Twitter, and you can find me at Wayne McDonald. You can log on to Instagram and you'll find me there. Wayne McDonald Abundant Life. You can subscribe to this YouTube broadcast. Wayne McDonald Abundant Life. This broadcast is about empowering you to have and enjoy life in abundance to the full till it overflows, and encouraging you that you can touch and transform your world with the love, grace, and power of God. I want to encourage you to pick up a copy of my book, 7 Keys to Living an Abundant Life. This is powerful. This is so powerful. Everything that I'm doing is revolving around this. We're getting ready. We're planning a conference, an Abundant Life conference for 2018. I'm discussing it with leaders, and we're talking about it. We're getting the details together. It's going to be powerful. You'll be able to register for this real soon, but it's all about these principles that are in this book that'll teach you how to get out of debt, that'll teach you how to have a strong relationship between your husband and your wife, teach you about exercise and the importance of it, teach you about starting your day in the Word and communing with your Heavenly Father, talk to you about how to multiply your money and how to multiply your gifts and your talents. It'll talk to you about how to connect with your God-given purpose. It'll tell you about the importance of rest and get you on a routine of success where you live every dream. That's how serious I am about this thing. I'm going full steam ahead. It's all about you. This is all about you carrying out the dreams and the plans that God has for your life. That's why this was written, to empower you, to help you develop a daily success routine. 7 keys to living an abundant life. A practical, proven plan for your daily personal growth, helping you succeed and live your dreams. You can do this. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a blessed week.